The first time Ella saw him, he was nothing but a trembling heap of fur, curled beside a rusted chain in the back alley of a forgotten street. Rain poured from the sky in heavy sheets, soaking the ground and washing away the city's sounds, except for one. The faint, rhythmic thumping of a tail, wagging. That was the moment everything changed. Ella wasn't supposed to be there. She was running late for work, cutting through an alley to save time. But fate has its own way of leading people where they're meant to be. She stopped in her tracks. He was no more than a few months old, thin, soaked, and shivering. A thick iron chain locked around his tiny neck, fixed to an old metal pole. No food, no shelter, just rain, concrete, and the soft thump of his hope. "Oh my God," she whispered, crouching down, trying not to scare him. "Hey buddy, what happened to you?" The puppy didn't bark, didn't growl. He didn't even flinch. He just looked up at her with those eyes, deep brown, full of something too big for his tiny body. Trust. And his tail wagged. Despite the cold, despite the hunger, despite the metal biting into his neck, he wagged his tail for a stranger. Ella felt her throat tighten. She reached out slowly. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." She didn't know where to begin. There was no collar, no tag, no hint of who had left him here. She took out her phone and dialed animal rescue, her voice shaking. "I found a puppy. He's chained up. Looks abandoned. Please, I need someone here right away." The wait felt eternal. Ella sat with the pup, using her scarf to cover him, sheltering him from the rain. "You don't deserve this," she whispered, brushing wet fur from his eyes. Minutes later, the rescue team arrived. 2 women and a man with a warm blanket and bolt cutters. One of the rescuers, Mara, knelt beside her. "You did the right thing calling us. We'll get him somewhere safe." As the chain snapped free, the puppy didn't run. He leaned into Ella, resting his tiny head against her hand. Mara smiled gently. "Looks like you've made a friend." Ella watched them wrap him up, carry him into the van. She didn't even realize tears were rolling down her cheeks. But as they closed the van door, the puppy turned his head and wagged his tail. 2 days passed. Ella couldn't stop thinking about him. She called the rescue center, asking for updates. "He's doing better," they told her. "Still recovering. Underweight but strong spirit." His file said they'd named him Buddy. That night, Ella couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, remembering his eyes. That tail. That silent, stubborn hope. The next morning, she showed up at the center. "I want to see him," she said. Mara was there, surprised but smiling. "Follow me." Inside a small room with soft lighting and clean blankets, Buddy lay curled up. His fur was cleaner, though he still looked fragile. When he saw her, his ears perked up. His tail began to wag. Ella knelt down. "Hi, Buddy. Remember me?" He nudged her hand with his nose, then climbed into her lap like he belonged there. Mara watched quietly. "He hasn't done that with anyone else." Ella looked down at him. "I want to adopt him." "Are you sure?" Mara asked gently. "He's been through a lot. He might have trauma. Trust issues. It's not always easy." Ella didn't hesitate. "He trusted me the moment I met him. Now it's my turn." Mara nodded. "We'll start the paperwork." Over the next week, Ella prepared everything. A soft bed, toys, food, vet appointments. She researched canine trauma, spoke to specialists, read stories of recovery. But nothing could have prepared her for what happened the day she brought Buddy home. As she opened the car door, he hesitated. His paws didn't move. His eyes darted nervously. Ella knelt beside him. "It's okay," she whispered. "You're free now. This is your home." Buddy slowly stepped down, sniffing the ground. One paw, then another. Then something incredible happened. He ran. Not away, but in circles. Around her. Around the yard. Like he was learning what it meant to move without pain. To run without fear. Ella laughed through tears. And as he ran, he stopped suddenly, raced back toward her, jumped into her arms, and wagged his tail. End of section 1. Buddy's recovery wasn't instant. Healing, after all, isn't a straight line. The first few nights at Ella's home were quiet. Too quiet. He'd pace near the door, whimper softly in his sleep, and flinch at sudden sounds. He wouldn't touch his food unless Ella sat beside him. And he never barked. But Ella was patient. Every day she sat by him, whispered soft reassurances, and read aloud just to give him comfort. Every night, she slept on the floor beside his bed until he settled enough to sleep through. One morning, a sound broke the silence. It wasn't much. Just a low, hesitant bark. Ella's eyes flew open. She sat up to see Buddy sitting by the window, ears perked, tail wagging. "Was that you, Bud?" she asked, half laughing, half crying. Buddy barked again, louder this time, almost like he was proud of himself. She clapped her hands and pulled him into a hug. "That's my brave boy." But with every step forward, some days still felt like setbacks. One afternoon, Ella invited a friend over. Just one. As soon as the doorbell rang, Buddy bolted under the table, trembling. "It's okay," Ella whispered, kneeling beside him. He buried his face against her leg. His body shook. Ella looked at her friend apologetically. "We'll take this slow. Maybe come back another time." After her friend left, she sat on the floor, rubbing Buddy's back gently. "You don't have to be afraid anymore. No one's going to hurt you." Buddy looked up, eyes full of questions. Then slowly he placed a paw on her hand. He was trying. The vet visits were another challenge. Dr. Lena, a calm and experienced animal doctor, examined Buddy gently. "He's doing better than expected. The scar on his neck is healing nicely." Ella asked, "Will it go away completely?" Dr. Lena shook her head. "It'll fade, but some scars stay. That's not always a bad thing. They tell stories." Ella nodded. "He's got a strong story to tell." Buddy sat quietly during the checkup, but when it was time to leave, he tugged the leash toward Ella. He wasn't running away. He was running to her. That night, she posted a photo of Buddy on her social media, his eyes shining with gentle trust. They chained him, but look at him now. Free, safe, loved. The post went viral. Messages poured in, thousands of them. Strangers from across the world sent their love, their stories, their support. Many had rescued animals too. Others said Buddy's strength gave them hope. Ella scrolled through the comments with tears in her eyes. "Buddy, you're changing the world, one heart at a time." Weeks passed. Seasons began to shift. Buddy now had a routine: morning walks, playtime at the park, evening snuggles. But the biggest moment of change came one golden afternoon at the dog park. Ella hesitated before unclipping the leash. "You sure about this, Bud?" Buddy looked up at her. Then, without waiting, he bolted into the open field. He didn't run from fear. He ran with joy. Other dogs joined. He sniffed, played, rolled in the grass. Laughter echoed across the park. Then something happened that took Ella's breath away. A little boy dropped his toy ball. It rolled toward Buddy. The boy froze, uncertain. Buddy picked it up gently in his mouth and brought it back. The boy smiled. "Thank you, doggy." Buddy wagged his tail. The boy reached out, and Buddy let him pet his head. Ella couldn't believe it. Mara, who had just arrived for a surprise visit, stood beside her. "He's come so far. You gave him that chance." Ella wiped her eyes. "No, he just needed someone to see him. He did the rest." As the sun dipped lower, casting golden rays through the trees, Buddy sat between the two women. He looked peaceful, whole, loved. But just when they thought this was the happy ending, it wasn't. That night, a strange knock echoed at Ella's door. A man in a leather jacket stood there, holding a photo. "I think that dog's mine," he said coldly. Ella's heart dropped. Buddy, from across the room, froze. End of section 2. Ella's body stiffened. Her hand instinctively reached for Buddy, who had backed into the corner of the living room. His ears flattened. His tail was still. The man stepped forward. "That's my dog. Name's Rex. Went missing a few months ago." Ella stood in the doorway, refusing to let him enter. "Missing? Or left chained in an alley during a rainstorm?" He raised an eyebrow. "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is I got this picture." He held up a blurry, low-quality photo of a puppy that barely resembled Buddy. "And a buddy of mine saw your post. Said it looked like my dog. He had no tag, no chip. He was emaciated, terrified, and chained when I found him," Ella replied, her voice trembling with fury. "You don't get to call yourself his owner now." The man scoffed. "Lady, I don't need to argue. I could report this. You'd be in trouble for keeping a dog that's not yours." Behind her, Buddy whimpered. That sound ignited something in Ella. "Then go ahead," she snapped. "Report me. But I'm not handing him over to someone who abandoned him. He's safe now, and I'll fight for him." She slammed the door shut. The next day, Ella visited the rescue center and explained everything. Mara's eyes darkened. "That's serious. If he tries to go through legal channels, you'll need proof. Do you still have the photos from that day? The chain, the alley?" "Everything," Ella nodded. "I've kept records, vet notes, everything since." Mara exhaled. Good. Let's prepare. If this goes to court, we'll back you. And so will the entire community. Over the next week, the story spread again. This time, it wasn't just about Buddy's rescue. It was about someone trying to take him away. The outpouring of support was massive. People shared their own stories. Lawyers offered pro bono help. Animal rights advocates stepped forward. A petition titled, "Let Buddy Stay Home," gained over 200,000 signatures in days. Ella didn't want fame. She only wanted safety for Buddy. And Buddy, he never left her side. He sensed the tension, stayed close, his body more alert than before. But every time Ella smiled at him, his tail wagged. It was as if he was reminding her, "We've faced worse. We'll face this too, The legal notice finally arrived. The man had filed a complaint, claiming ownership. Ella sat in the courtroom weeks later, clutching Buddy's leash tightly. He rested his head on her knee. The judge reviewed photos, vet records, witness statements, including Mara's and Dr. Lena's. Then the man took the stand. "I just want my dog back. He meant a lot to me." "Did you file a missing pet report?" the judge asked. "No, I figured he'd come back." "Did you report the chain, the alley, the abandonment?" He hesitated. "Look, maybe I made mistakes, but neglect is not a mistake. It's a crime," the judge said firmly. The final verdict was read aloud. This court finds that the animal in question, known as Buddy, was subjected to clear neglect and abandonment. Custody will remain with Miss Ella Harrison, who has provided overwhelming evidence of proper care, rehabilitation, and emotional bonding. Ella burst into tears, clutching Buddy. The entire courtroom erupted in quiet applause. Outside, cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. But Ella walked past them, her voice calm as she whispered to Buddy, "We're going home." At home, she opened the door and let Buddy run free in the backyard. He barked, loud and proud, then sprinted in circles like he used to. He paused only to dig up one of his hidden toys, toss it in the air, and wag his tail like the happiest dog on earth. Ella sat on the porch, watching him, heart full. Mara later joined her, holding a small plaque. "We made this for him at the center. Thought you should have it." The wooden plaque read, "Buddy, rescued, loved, and never chained again." Ella hugged her. "Thank you. For everything." Mara smiled. "No, thank you. For not giving up on him." That night, as Buddy curled beside Ella, she whispered, "They chained you, but you still wagged your tail. And you taught me something I'll never forget." He looked up at her, eyes full of peace, and wagged his tail one more time. /the end.